I forgot about the Audacity.
You can go and I'll go. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to my camera, which is really unclear. This is our first technical E3 coverage of the weekend because we did Summer Games Fest the other night, so go check that out. But I am the fuck Ubisoft Trasnell, and I'm joined by a man who claims to think that he beat me on a charity stream last week, but we've invited him nonetheless because I always want to show there's no hard feelings with competitors. But we're joined by
the noob fanboy Clay. That's what I'll be called today. How about that? Just for you, Travis.
There you go. And finally, the person that talked right before I did an intro and threw me off.
Did definitely throw you off. I am the assassin Taylor Field, but I'm not really feeling like an assassin today, to be honest.
So, ladies and gentlemen, yes, this is E3. You know where we are. Go to Twitter and Facebook. Taylor, I'm cutting you off, not even giving you a chance. Down below is the description where you can find everything we do. If you will really like to do, head over to Patreon, ad for exclusive early episodes. We're going to get into it, but just to announce, tomorrow when you're listening to this, who knows, June 13th, we'll be doing a watch long of the conference and the next one, and then we'll be doing podcasts back to back for both those. Monday is a TBD. Monday night we might do something if there's big news. There's rumors of a Marvel game, so if that happens, we'll probably do something. If not, Tuesday we will be back for sure because that's Nintendo. That's E3's closing ceremony, and then we also have Loki coming up next week. So tons of fun stuff coming up. But this is E3, the first one in 2 years. Obviously, didn't happen last year, so I'm going to start with Fanboy Clay. What we usually do is we're going to go our overalls, like what you thought of the press conference, and then we'll kind of go game by game. But I think we'll do our overalls, and I think we'll probably start with the end because I'm just dying to talk about this Avatar business. So what do you think about the show overall, start to finish? And then at the end, we do a rating out of 5. But what do you think of Ubisoft's Forward from 2021?
Overall, I don't think it was necessarily bad. Because we've all seen bad game shows.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't necessarily bad. It wasn't great either. I would say it was a nice foot in the water, toes in the water to get back into what people would consider a new normal. Just trying to bring back gaming and things like that. Do you want me to put it on a scale or
no, you can just get the scale to the end, but you can say well, here's the thing, because you talk Summer Games Fest, what would you say is better so far? Because we usually at the end we kind of put the list together what we thought. As right now, which one did you prefer between the two?
Aesthetically, I appreciated this one more than Summer Games, but I think overall Summer Games out of the two was better.
Okay, fair enough. Taylor Field, you are Mr. Ubisoft. You've been called over the years. Also, you love Assassin's Creed. You love a lot of stuff. What did you feel them bringing it out? Because also, we've been doing this now. This is our 5th year E3 coverage. And Ubisoft, they've kind of gone back and forth between having some all right conferences and some really bad ones. So you never know what you're going to get with Ubisoft. What do you think about this showing up?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always excited. In short, I'm always excited to see what Ubisoft does and bring in their new games. And there's a few things that I can anticipate and expect, like your Just Dance and obviously some Rainbow Six stuff and everything like that. But I guess I had my hopes a little higher because we had such a crazy past year, and again, companies were transitioning, but there was a lot of developments and kind of rumors spreading, especially about potential other titles that Ubisoft will be working on. And I guess I was really hoping for something, but it just felt safe and it was a little bit disappointing. I don't think I'm anywhere near as much disappointed as Dylan was in terms of his
Dylan,
rating.
You can go back for a live watch along, which for just the Avatar reveal is worth the price of admission. But he said he would give this conference a 2.5. So you're not obviously you won't give your score yet, but you weren't in that realm.
No, I wasn't. And again, I was laughing with the Avatar because I thought that's just a bold play to close out on. But that is actually, it had me excited. I love the world. I love the movie. It's definitely the sequel films I'm so anticipated for. But again, I think that's probably would be my highlight, unfortunately, is that. I mean, Mario Kingdom Rabbids, we'll talk more about all these titles. But there are a couple other things that have me interested. But honestly, to just think in retrospect, I couldn't even remember making the thumbnail. What did they really announce that was notable? And it wasn't anything peak. So, but that being said, there are titles that intrigued me that I want to try, but nothing that I am ecstatic for.
Yeah, it's interesting because for me, I've always kind of crapped on Ubisoft. I've always said they usually have the worst conferences because they always go on super long. So I think as a show, Dylan was saying this, I think it was good. It was well paced. I didn't find anything going on too long, like even like the recon stuff or Rainbow Six Siege. Like I was like, okay, like that feels warranted. The Rainbow Six Extraction, like, okay, this is a new game they're trying to pump up. So I think it's just people had this argument going into E3 because we had COVID, and it's like, yeah, there's lots of things in development, but also lots of things got delayed and pushed back. And it's like, are we going to get some, oh, we've been gone for so long, here's a bunch of stuff, or is it going to be a safe one? I'm hoping the rest of the weekend's not like this, but this was the first definitely like relatively safe. I think the Avatar thing was bold, and we're going to talk about it in a second, but everything we kind of knew. Obviously, the Extraction we knew of, but that was the big reveal, so that was fine. Avatar was new. Mario Rapids, okay, but then after that, like you had Siege updates, you had DLC updates, you had what was a Far Cry, which has been in the works for a while. So I think it's tough because it's I think show wise it was good. I think games wise, there's not too much for me other than a few that I was like, okay, this seems like this could interest me a little bit, but yeah, I don't know. So yeah, usually what we do, we break them down piece by piece. But if you listen to E3 before, if there's a big thing at the end, we usually start with that and go that way, like when Marvel's Avengers drop or stuff like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about Avatar. And I'll start with you because you are the most positive. So Yeez was up there. He's like, we got something special. We got something good. Like, you know, we're into a new world. And then we're thinking, could this be Star Wars? Could this be something? Because they are working on a Star Wars game, which we got no peep of. And the big reveal was Avatar. This game's coming out 2022, and it's just exclusive to new gen consoles. You are excited by this?
I am. Again, like I found it humorous because like everyone was just probably, I can't imagine the chats. I wasn't looking, but I imagine everyone's like losing their minds and is freaking out. But like, I love Avatar. I can't even fathom how many times I watched it in theaters. I love the world. I think it's beautiful. I love the story and everything. So as far as a game goes, I wasn't super absorbed to ever think like, yeah, I need to play like a video game, like the actual like game based off the film that came out ages ago. But this looking like its own thing based in that world, open world RPG kind of style, just going through the trials, tribulations of being an avatar and dealing with the human aspect. I like that. That was something I really kind of piqued my interest more, was like, okay, you got the human threat. Like, what is this game going to consist of? Like, we're going to explore new species and new parts of the planet. Yeah, it just looks so beautiful. And it's definitely something I would try, very much so.
No, you can't try it free because of UB Play.
I know, they got
whatever.
us again.
Yeah, every time they think they're gonna get me excited, and they just don't. Where were you on that, Clay? Obviously, they were teasing something big. Does that match up to what you would consider a big reveal?
Avatar was nowhere on my radar whenever there was like, because we were joking around about you being just a little bit ahead on the stream, and you were like, oh, something big's coming, and I was like starting to sit up on my seat. I was like, okay, what's going on? And then seeing Avatar, I was working at Cinemark when Avatar came out. I was able to leave my concession stand to go watch it at midnight. I'm super hyped for the movie back in 2010. It's been a decade. It's been a decade and a few years since this whole franchise hasn't even started. So them coming out with a game now, yes, I can say that it was probably the best time because of new gen gaming. You know, of course, they're probably going to spend as much time as they possibly can to make this look great, which I can probably appreciate. But I'm more interested in what exactly are they wanting to do with this game? Are you going to go on the side of, I was joking with Taylor when we were watching it, are you going to be able to create your own avatar? Are you just going to be a human? Is this going to be a whole like Jurassic World evolution type thing? Are you going to be able to manipulate the humans and like do, farming and all sorts of who knows? Who knows what this game is necessarily going to be? I know that there was Dylan said maybe it was like an action adventure possible game, but I don't know. It was definitely something I wasn't expecting, but maybe I'll grab it as soon as it goes discounted. I won't say that I won't buy it full price, but I would be willing to try it out eventually.
Yeah, it's Avatar. It's so difficult to gauge for me, and that's why I'm really excited for when the sequels come out, because I want to see, okay, when that second one come out, does it have? And I'm not saying first film, obviously biggest film of all time, took the record back from Endgame a few months ago. I'm sure Endgame and that are going to go back and forth for the rest of our lives, but still one of the biggest, if not biggest, film of all time. And it's this thing of like, it's big, but I just also don't feel like, okay, well, apparently Taylor's watched it over and over, but I don't hear many people talk about it. It's just one of those things of like, I don't believe this, but if someone said like, yeah, they kept buying theaters over and over just to bet the records up, I go, okay, I don't understand. But I was there for the hype of it. I understood the 3D and all that. So I know it is big, but I just don't feel people talk about it that much. And that's why I want the sequels to be out, because that second one, I think will still be successful. It'll still turn a profit. But for me, it's like, how much does it do? Does it get to those $1 billion huge levels again? It's like a Star Wars new franchise where it's like when you just put out a movie, it's uber successful, barring Solo. Or was it kind of a flash in the pan? And yeah, you can make some money, but you can never get back that big hit. I don't know. And the same thing like Clay pointed out, it's over a decade now. This game feels like, the other thing is too, if the sequel had come out and then we get this game, it would feel more relevant. But because it's coming before, it's just like, I feel like the time has passed for an Avatar game, for the excitement of an Avatar game. I just don't know what this does. And I also just wonder, because we were watching the chat, Clay and I, and there was like a few people there excited, but like, I think it's classic Ubisoft of like, they never know how to read the room. And I feel like, I don't know. I guess they should be excited. It's the biggest movie all time they're making a video game for, but it's also like you got to know your audience. And I think the majority of gaming audience is not going to be like, hell yeah, I got an Avatar game, So it's like that to and from where maybe
Twitter
they should
seems pretty excited about it.
Really? Well,
Yeah.
Twitter is I don't know if I can trust him all the time, but I'll be excited to see this next few days, because I just like, for me, I'm with Dylan. I think it will be an action adventure RPG-ish. I think it will be like Horizon Zero Dawn, but with Avatar people. I bet it will be a prequel to the movie, so you don't have to discuss anything with Jake Sully or anything like that. It's just like maybe 100 years ago, and the human and the Na'vi were fighting and stuff like that. So I would have to hear lots of good things, but Avatar, I like the movie. It just is definitely overrated. I just don't think it interests me in the fact of, I don't know if I need to buy this at full price, even try it out. Like, I have to hear some really, really good things about this when it comes out for me to go, okay, I'm going to play it. But for it to be their big thing, it is, I guess it is big. It is cool, but it's tough. I think if we didn't know the Star Wars game was in development, it'd be a lot better. But everybody knows, and people were talking about the whole weekend of like, and that's why I did say, Taylor, when Taylor's like, oh, that would be like foolish of them not to show anything. Well, yeah, it's Ubisoft.
They're foolish.
Yeah, and that's why I said on our watch line, I said they won't show anything. I had a feeling too, just because that game is relatively new. It's not that far along, but I still thought like a title or even a log line of like, you're playing a Jedi, we're doing this era. Like, just even if it wasn't the closer, give us a little something. Like, you're working on a Star Wars game. But I digress. We got Avatar, and it did, like Taylor said, it looked beautiful. It looked great. I think that world will have a lot of fun. There's lots of fun activities you can do: the flying, the climbing, the fighting, the enemy types and stuff like that, the animals. So it is a fun world to explore in. So I think initially when you saw Avatar, at least my hype like dove, because I was like, no. On the surface, I go, oh, that's a fun idea, but will I buy it? I don't know about that. I feel like it's, unless, like I said before, great reviews and stuff like that, I could skip it. But anything specifically on Avatar? I know it might come up again, but anything specifically we want to shout out or talk about? Like I said, 2022, going to be exclusive to new consoles and Stadia and Luna. Those guys, I guess, too.
I got nothing.
Yeah, nothing. No. Okay. Well, there you go. That sums it up. So now we'll go in order. They started off with Rainbow Six Extraction. This is now kind of like seems like a tactics kind of stealth like game, but they are using aliens that are looking like a variety of creatures you've seen before in movies and everything like that. Taylor, you're a big Alien fan and whatnot. Is this game on your radar now after seeing this, or is this is it on your radar, and does it look good for what they're going for actually?
Looking at the gameplay, there was a little bit of the mechanics that just didn't seem it didn't look like it was a 2021 game. And I can understand that because they 100% they just took the Rainbow Six Siege engine and have basically installed it into this new equivalent Rainbow Six title, which is fine because if it does somehow end up in a Games Pass or something like that, which I doubt because the A+, but it would be a game that I would like to acquire because I'm a huge fan of World War Z, and this just
game I'd
has
like
that
to
aspect.
acquire.
Oh yeah,
What are you, Thanos?
this game just has well, I wouldn't want to pay full price for it. It just has the aesthetic that I particularly enjoy, like World War Z has, where it's just getting from point A to point B, doing this mission with a bunch of three people in your squad, and it's a great way to make friends online. It's a great way to just kind of kill time if you need to do a quick point A to point B story mission in a video game that you want to sit back and enjoy. And again, it has a lot of the elements that make Siege very popular, so it's definitely on my radar, but it's not a day one for me.
What about you, Clay? Is this on your radar?
Yes and no. I am not a big Rainbow Six player. The last one that I played even remotely was Vegas, and I know Taylor was talking about that when we were watching it. But Rainbow Six is really big for my siblings, for my little brother and for my older brother. So I'm sure I'm gonna be able to play it eventually without having to pay for it necessarily. The cinematic versus what the gameplay was, it felt like two entirely different things. And I feel like that's how people are probably going to like mistakenly purchase the game when they see this trailer versus like what they're expecting when they finally play the game. You know, the idea of these aliens jumping into the Rainbow Six franchise, it's an intriguing idea, but it's not necessarily something I feel like Rainbow Six needed, you know, as far as like, hey, what's the next thing we do? Aliens. Like it
feels like a strange pivot, you know? It's just like, it reminds me of like in comic books when you get a what if series, but you go, oh, it's a what if, so this is fine. But this is like, I guess they could say that, but this is their franchise. And it just feels like, I don't want to say this about the team because I don't know anything, but it feels like when you start to run out of ideas and you're like, okay, let's do aliens. Let's do that. I'm like, yeah, let's do that. Yeah. Like, so like maybe, who knows? Maybe I can get some like alien covenant vibe of like, it's me and my friends. We're taking down aliens. It doesn't look like it's really going to like be that horror side and like thriller. Like it didn't look like they're going for that many jump scares. Like the cinematic had a few moments, but I didn't feel like this was going to be a game that intense. It feels like a very rock'em sock'em, like we're gonna do lots of shooting and we're gonna have a good time. But I guess that's the hope, is you just have a good time with your friends. You know, you're just killing aliens and it looked all right, but this is a game I wouldn't play. I said this in the watch along. I would, if it was a Games Pass, hey, you could play this for free, PlayStation Plus, I'd go, okay, sure, let's stream this for a night, let's have some fun, and then I'd probably never play it unless I really liked it. But I'm not going to be dropping full price for this. And they didn't say, well, they said it's on Ubisoft Play, which we'll talk about. Well, I just bring up now, so the live people are wondering why my name's Fuck Ubisoft, is because they 3 years ago announced Ubi Play, this thing that's like Games Pass, like a PS Now, like a subscription model, right? And it's like $10 a month. Great idea. They're saying these games like Game Pass, Far Cry 6, all these games day one on Ubi Play. And I'm going to look, because this is my favorite thing about E3. This is the only time in my life I get to be like a news broadcaster, because I get to report breaking news, because I have a really interesting avatar fact for you after this. But my hope is that this does come to consoles, because I've said this since it was announced like 2 years ago. I'm saying it now. They have squandered the chance of getting people's money. I would, maybe not all year round, but I would definitely a few months try it out, get it. There's games like Watch Dogs I would love to get on there and play, maybe not for full price or discount. And they had this whole segment then showing them like subscribe now, but they didn't say come into consoles. So I really don't know what the update is now. I'm ranting about now, so we'll talk about Taylor. Why do you think we still have not gotten it on consoles yet, Ubi Play?
Oh God, the truthful answer, Google is just writing fat checks. Like, it's probably keeping Ubisoft like set for life, honestly. So
yeah. And what about you, Clay? Because you're talking about like it'd be another subscription model, but like, would that be something even if you did it for like a month or so? Like, would you ever be interested in doing that? Like, hey, I might want to play this game that like, or like we'll get to that, like that Ridge Riders, whatever, like, or is Ubisoft not really have too many titles where you go, I wouldn't really subscribe to that at all?
Well, here's another thing that to add to that is the subscription service like is it an addition to like the season pass or any DLC? Like, do you get any of that stuff with that subscription or no? Or is it just the games?
I think
it's just the game.
I think it's just the games, but again, I wouldn't know as I don't have it. But what
Exactly.
is the actual is it UB Play or is it?
It's Ubisoft Plus, I believe.
Yeah, Ubisoft Plus is what it is.
Oh, Ubisoft Plus,
because
of course.
because when it comes to content, they do come out with a lot of content, but most of that content is DLC. So if it included DLC, I think it would be worth it. But knowing Ubisoft and we were just talking about it recently, just a couple minutes ago, Assassin's Creed Odyssey had like 6 DLCs, like I want to say 4 or 5 or maybe even 6 DLCs. And I think they were pretty hefty in price. So I don't expect them to really have DLC attached to that. So I'm not exactly sure if it would be worth it for me personally.
Yeah,
I'm a big Assassin's Creed player. I want to like I recently I think last year during the shutdown they were having a huge sale, so I bought like almost every freaking Assassin's Creed game since 4 I think, and I was able to get all of them for like less than $100. It was really nice, but that's really all I'm playing. I haven't really been interested in Far Cry. I haven't been interested in, unfortunately, a lot of their titles. So for me personally, I don't think Ubisoft Plus would necessarily be a big sell for me. But again, it all depends on their shift in gaming and content. Because like you guys said, like Avatar isn't going to get me Ubisoft Plus. But if they had, like you said, Star Wars or Indiana Jones, or no, Indiana Jones is not Ubisoft, but their next Star Wars game, and they're like exclusive to Ubisoft Plus, fuck that, then yeah, I'm getting it, you know?
Well, fair enough. Ubisoft, like Taylor said, if they're just because of Google, I get it. But yeah, I'm ready. You're lots of money's left on the table, but I'm glad you're on Stadia, so good for you. So this is something that came out about the Ubisoft Avatar game. It's going to be an open first-person game. I did not see that trailer, other than the beginning where you're walking through the forest and woods. I did not think that was going to be a first-person game, and my interest. So people know, if you're a long-time listener, there's a few first-person games I like, but I do not like that. I like cinematic. I like third-person, just the way I go. So if I had any chance of playing the game, it is completely like plane crash, nosedive, because like I feel like, okay, there is that moment because there's a shot of like when we got the forest there and it's like him holding a bow, or whoever you're playing holding a bow. I just thought that was cinematic. I didn't think you'd be playing the whole game in first person, and that to me, and again,
that's a big no for me. That is an instant no for me.
I'm gonna keep checking because Keely tweeted it out, so he's usually doing updates and stuff. So I'm gonna keep checking to make sure that's confirmed. But if that is the case, yeah, to me that trailer is very misleading. To me, that's so third person. So that's why I'm still checking. But that does not sound my alley.
No.
Misleading, yeah, I'll definitely give you that, and that does take it away a little bit now from me, but not a lot, because so many games, again, you know, Cyberpunk was such a great success, but like everyone was excited about the first person perspective of that, and I usually like games like this being in third person, but I don't have anything against first person games. I mean, I play Call of Duty, and that's as first person as they come. I play Elder Scrolls, that's first person. So there's many different titles that do it that I enjoy it. And I feel like a game like this would be it would be like a Rush, should be interesting. Like to be more in the eyes of your avatar. I guess it makes sense why they would want to go that route. And you're piloting things and everything, so it just works.
Yeah, first person, multiple people are saying it, so it definitely looks like it is. That's confirmed. First person action adventure, open world only on new gen's PC, developed by Massive Entertainment, Ubisoft Studio, and a collaboration of Lightstorm Entertainment and Disney. It's a standalone story. You will play as the Na'vi, which I think we kind of figured out that one. I didn't think it was going to be. I don't think the pitch of the game was okay. So you're the humans and you're hunting down these people and you're like. I don't think that's the selling game if you're going to be the humans killing the Na'vi and taking stuff from their planet. It's like Ubisoft. I think you got to rework that pitch. I don't think that's a good one. So yeah, it looks like it's confirmed. Yeah, that's interesting. And to me, I feel like they know that's like a hype killer in my opinion, because there's always this happens at E3 where a trailer comes out and then details come out and you go, oh, like that happened a lot with Avengers last or 2 years ago when it had these trailers and more details. Like, oh, like, and I bought it. I still enjoy it, but I was like, oh, that's weird. Like, oh, you got to do that. Like, oh, okay. And the more that came out was this doesn't make sense. So, well, there you go. A first person Avatar game.
I feel
Great
bad
job
for the
and
people
stuff.
that work on these games and then they're just like so
Yep.
excited about the reveal and they just check the comments and everyone's like, this is a fucking wreck. This is horrible.
Ubisoft is
Yeah.
dead.
Yeah, it's just
Well, that's
brutal.
with anything with entertainment, right? Like you got to think about that if you're doing music, if like a teaser of your song, if a movie trailer comes out and everyone's just like, this looks awful, it's just like, man, it has to be deflating, especially while like with a movie, lots of times it's different because you're done production. But imagine if you were doing a video game and you're still working on this Avatar game, and all you see is like, this game looks like crap. I don't want to play it. But you just gotta, you know what? I'm not gonna play it. But you just gotta put your head down and make the best game possible. We're gonna take our first ad break right now. Sometimes depending on podcast should be a little loud, but luckily I got no complaints about that. So first ad break, and then we're gonna be back talking about Rocksmith. Who would have thunk in 2021? So we will be right back. And we're back. Ubisoft announces Rocksmith subscription service. Who would have thought? Rockstar Plus or Rocksmith Plus, another plus in there. One day we're gonna have GeekVerse. Well, I'm not gonna tease them, but we do have something in the works, but we specifically said we're not doing GeekVerse Plus. We're like, no, that's not happening. Clay, what did you think about this Rocksmith reveal, and do you think this will be successful in a 2021 landscape?
Just like how Avatar is a decade old, Rocksmith is a decade old.
That's Yubi's gimmick this press conference. They love old property. They're bringing it back.
I mean, I said this during the actual viewing of it. This is legitimately only for the people who want to learn how to play guitar, because you have to connect a legitimate real guitar or bass into your now new gen console. I don't know if it was also for PS4 or Xbox One, but having this, the subscription service is interesting. They are taking a gamble with that. Having a video game, because for one, I don't know if this is like going to be something that you have to have live or PlayStation Plus, and then on top of that, having to do this. So Rocksmith Plus or whatever it's called. It is a gamble. I'm interested to see how successful it is, because for me, I miss Guitar Hero. Like, as weird as that sounds, like just being able to, because I think I saw like a random video of somebody playing Guitar Hero just the other day, and I think it was more so it was people talking about music in movies, and they're like, well, technically I learned this song when I first played Guitar Hero, and I was like, Jesus Christ, I'm so freaking old. People only remember that song by a freaking video game. But I don't know. It's a weird thing to do, but it's out there for somebody for sure.
Yeah. Taylor, you gonna be picking up the guitar and slapping the bass, man?
Slapping the bass. I've been it's on my bucket list to like learn guitar. I used to play when I was younger, and I kind of drifted away from it, and I always wanted to go back and kind of pick it up again. So I don't know. Is this going to be the tool that gets me back into guitar? No, but I'm sure it will be for somebody.
Yeah, not for me. I don't have time for a lot of things in my life. It won't be trying to learn guitar, and I hope they do well. I'll be very interested because the subscription model, I don't think we'll ever see numbers, but I think we'll know after a year if they're still supporting it, then it's doing well, or after a year if it's like kind of on its way. I'll go, that's my thing, is I just don't know if it'll play the same way, and not even the same way, because Guitar Hero Rocksmith became massive hits. I'm not saying it has to be a worldwide phenomenon again, but I just don't see it being a super successful venture. I feel like it's something they do, and then they finally go, okay, Rocksmith's dead. It had its moment. Guitar Hero had its moment, but I think people have moved on. So we'll see. I'll start with this because this was actually a really exciting trailer. I kind of forgot this game existed. Riders Republic, like a bunch of X Games and stuff like that, and X Sports, and it was like heavy duty biking, like mountain, like I don't know, mountain sports, whatever. What's the thing called again? That when they're
base jumping.
Yeah, base jumping, like all that stuff that I'll never do. Not because I'm not scared, just because again, not enough time. But it looked really fun. At one moment, they showed like the online base jumping you play with people, and it was like 50 people in a row just trying to like get past each other. And I was like, you know what? That looked lots of fun. This is a game that if I could have Uplay or Ubisoft Plus, whatever the hell it's called, I would be all over because they said it was day one. So like this could be lots of fun, play online. So would I do a full purchase? No, this is a game I think on sale or a subscription somewhere down the line I'll play. It looked like tons of fun. Looked had some really unique stuff in there. So Taylor, you've played Steep and you remind you similar to that. So is this a game that's on your radar? Would you be thinking about buying, or do you think you'll wait down the line?
It's cool, but it's got too much stuff that I personally don't need to really indulge in. Like I don't really go BMX bike racing and all that jazz.
Now's your chance.
Now's my chance. I don't really do a lot of that, like that kind of stuff. Like my enjoyment is snowboarding, skiing, and Steep provides that on a very extreme in-depth level.
The winter-based stuff.
Yeah.
Well, the winter-based stuff is in here too.
It is. And again, like it's got so much extra stuff. Like I'm not gonna. There's a bunch of content in there that I feel like I wouldn't be really needing to dive into because I don't go out and I don't buy BMX games, stuff like that. And again, it's got all of that stuff, but I prefer Steep because it focuses solely on that route, I guess you could say. And again, I'm not gonna bash on a game for like, yeah, I love snowboarding and this has all this extra stuff. I mean, that's great and that's perfect, which is why I won't bash this game. It's just not really for me. If this game took everything that Steep has and even more winter stuff and just built off of that on a larger scale, I think that would be pretty cool. But that's just me.
Yeah. Clay, float your boat at all?
If enough friends buy it, I will get it. One of the reasons being something that they announced at the very end of the trailer is that it is going to be did they say it was cross-platform? I can't remember if they did or not.
I don't think this one did. I don't.
Oh no, that was Siege that made that.
Siege, yeah, that was next. Yeah,
but for this, if they are going to, like I said, this is a party game, all in all, with as much as we saw in that freaking trailer and the chaos that ensues during it. This is a party game. So if enough friends get it, I will also get it. Now they will really have to convince me if it's a day one purchase. But I mean, I'm all for playing with friends, so I'm down.
Oh, I'm just looking at E3 for news and whatnot, man. It is people did not like this conference. Rainbow Six Siege has some updates, some DLC, and it's cross-platform. Haven't played it. I just think that's some cool announcements there that they're going to be having cross-platform. So, you guys got anything to add on the Siege update?
I guess I think crossplay is huge, and for an old game that came out years and years and years ago to be upgraded with crossplay, I think that's awesome.
Yeah. After that, we got like a cool sizzle roll, which I hope they do for conferences later on. They just showed a bunch of games with like a bunch of DLC, like I think like Watch Dogs, that Brawl game, whatever, Crew 2, stuff like that. Like I said before, in the past, Ubisoft would bring out a developer and they maybe talk like 5 to 15 minutes about like just one single update. It's like, I know you guys don't have lots, but you don't need to do that. So I like that. Just sizzle reel. Here you go. Bunch of stuff we're working on. Cool. I thought that was great. Anything to shout out there in those one. Aiden Pierce, I guess you told me, Taylor, that he was already known to be back. I didn't know that. That's cool for a character. Watch Dogs, the first one was kind of disappointment, and Adrian Pierce kind of gets shit on as like the boring male lead, but it's fun to see him in there. You know, he's started the franchise.
Mm-hmm. I was honestly thinking they would showcase, because I think there was discussions or rumors or leaks, one of the three, of zombies actually being in Watch Dogs Legion. There's like some zombie DLC.
Always fucking zombies.
So I was hoping for that actually, but
tigers.
Escape Zombie Infested London. Yeah, so I was hoping Legion of the Dead is what it's called. So I was hoping it would have been.
Is that a rumor though?
No, it's actually a thing. It's actually a
Oh,
thing.
wow.
Welcome to Watch Dogs: Legion of the Dead.
Cool title.
Interesting.
Let's see. Just Dance 2022 featuring Todrick Hall. These games get put out, they make money. Cool little showcase with him, but I will not be purchasing. Clay, is this anything for you?
I know for a fact that my little sister is going to want to play the heck out of this game on my little brother's Switch. So I'm sure I will be invited to a Just Dance party with my sister. And I told you guys this. The biggest part about Just Dance whenever it is announced is the rock star or dance star or whoever is attached to the trailer. Having Todrick Hall in this trailer or in this announcement was probably the biggest thing, just because he is an up-and-coming artist, really big into YouTube several years back. Like I said, he got really big once he was put into a Taylor Swift album and music video. So I'm glad for his appearance here. I think that'll boost him a whole bunch. But other than that, there's not really much to this. I do remember how Taylor was saying that they're back then. I say back then, I don't know how long ago. They were doing some sort of subscription service where you can get more songs. I'd be interested to see if they bring that back for this game.
Taylor, apparently Just Dance champion over here.
Well, I mean, where's my copy? The last one that I've kind of indulged in is 2017. So I mean,
Oh my god, he has it that close though. That's the scary thing. It's not like I thought he was gonna have to go to his closet. It was right there.
Went to go and buy Just Dance 21 because it was on sale for $30 CB Games, and they said they were sold out, and they said we're sold out at both locations in town, which was very upsetting. So I bought Mortal Kombat
for them,
instead.
What a contrast and differences there. Came for Just Dance, left with Mortal Kombat.
Well, and the guy knew too, like because he was there for the whole experience. Because I asked him, like, "Hey, you got Just Dance?" And then he served me up, like, "Oh, here's Mortal Kombat." Served me up. So I'm excited. I feel like it's not something I would get yearly, but every few years just to get the upgraded new songs in there, and it's fun once you're dancing and moving. It's a workout, and it's fun to do with friends and people you got over.
Taylor, you're talking right now, so I'll let you lead. Assassin's Creed Valhalla got a bunch of updates, a roadmap, and it also says it's the first game they're ever supporting a year after launch. So next year you'll be getting more stuff. So how do you feel about this?
Yeah, that is huge because that's getting the Siege treatment now all of a sudden by adding additional content. So it has me curious. Again, we just got the Wrath of the Druids DLC. It was delayed, but it is now available, which is pretty exciting. They did show off some more Odin stuff, and I made a joke in the stream. Again, the Asgard stuff.
It was all true.
I know. The Asgard stuff they have in the game, it is cool, it is exciting, but I don't need an insane amount of stuff because it just feels like it feels like its own campaign, and it's literally confused me from experience saying, okay, I'm trying to deal with the real world stuff with I'm not going to get into spoilers, and then I'm trying to deal with the Eivor stuff, and now I'm dealing with Eivor experiencing all this Asgardian stuff, which has a lot added into it. And it's tricky to know, okay, where is like the main story that I want to experience? And to progress further, I have to do every single side quest. It feels like there's so much that I want to do, but I want to do it at my own pace while I do the main story. And it just feels like there's so much going on. It's Assassin's Creed with the title kind of just used in there to sell a Viking game, which I don't like saying because I do love Assassin's Creed. It is. That being said, is it a takeaway from being a great game? No, I mean, not at all. Like if you want to go in and you want to lead raids on villages and like plunder, loot, and find and explore, it's awesome. Fighting huge dire wolves and all these other crazy creatures from that time period, it is great, and I've had a lot of fun playing it. So
I got no comment because, as I said before, I'll probably never play Assassin's Creed game.
You can borrow it. You got the power. You got the teraflops.
I just don't have time. I'm catching up on other stuff. I'm going back. So one day in my retirement, when I'm like, I've finally played all the games I want to, and that's
when they'll finally release Ubisoft Plus.
Oh gosh! Here at the age of 60, I can finally play Mario Rabbids 2. Clay, anything to add on Valhalla? You said on the stream that you do not have because you have not finished the other one. So I imagine the same impact.
I'm still playing Odyssey. Valhalla is on my radar. I think anything Vikings recently has just been really hot, and it's something that I want to play. Like, just the idea of being able to use a shield as an actual weapon, just like that, really got me curious about the game. And then, of course, I saw recently that you can get like so many Asgardian like armor and weapons and stuff. I'm pretty sure there was a video on Mjolnir recently that I saw on Twitter. So I was like, that's pretty awesome. So it is on my radar. I'm glad that they're sticking with Valhalla. So that way there is a glimmer of hope of me catching up with everybody else. So that way I can be on the hype train for the next game.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we got two more things to talk about, our overall ratings. And so we'll be right back, final ad break, and then we're going to close out the show. All right, we're back. They showed us Far Cry 6. I have never talking about first person. I had like bought Far Cry 3 or Far Cry 4 in like a sale back when I worked at Best Buy for really cheap. And then someone told me it's first person. I returned it the next day. I'm sure it's a great game, but that's what happened. Yeah. But they gave us a trailer with Giancarlo Esposito doing some acting and talking and stuff like that. And then something where I don't know what it is. It's going to be part of the season's pass of lets you play as the villains, and was bring back all the villains of the franchise, which I don't play the games, but from the box art, I know who the villains are. And like seeing all that, I was like, man, this is really cool. And they had some like really trippy, like Spider-Man and Mysterio world sequences going on. So that stuff, whatever that is, I probably won't play it, but I thought that was really cool. And I think for the fans of the franchise, they'll really appreciate that. And I'd like to like maybe check out a stream or just read about it later on when it does happen. And as I said on the watch long, I think that the footage they show, Clay made a good point that they might descaled it so they could stream it, but it just didn't look like a 2021 game. It didn't look bad, the cutscene where Giancarlo was talking, but I was like, really, we're here now? Like even Avatar to me like looked, but I was like, okay, there's some moments here, but and even Rainbow Six Siege had something. This not so much, but yeah, Far Cry is not my franchise. I'm happy for the people. Like I said, that film mode looked really cool. What about you, Clay? Anywhere on this Far Cry 6 game coming out this fall? I can't remember the exact date, but coming out this fall.
Far Cry first got onto my radar when I think it was Far Cry Primal, I think the game was called back in the day. That's the first time I had ever heard of the franchise, to be completely honest. It looked cool, but again, just like Travis, I am not a first-person gamer. Skyrim, I never played it. Fallout, didn't like it. So for me, this isn't a game that is on my radar, but the fact that they do have Esposito as a villain, it does irk me that that's the only role he plays. But bringing in a big star like that for this video game franchise gives me hope for more games out there to start doing things like this. And so if this is the first one that does it, then I'm applauding it. So we'll see how well it does. I think it'll sell crazy just for that aspect, but we'll see.
Taylor, is this getting you back in it?
Well, funny enough, I've never been a Far Cry guy. I've always wanted to get into it, but I've always been juggling like, well, I got Assassin's Creed, I got other titles that I'm kind of engaging in. But funny enough, it's actually Primal was the one that I really wanted to kind of get sucked into this world with, because it just looks so different and unique. It's funny because you don't hear much about Primal anymore. It's usually just the other main titles like Far Cry 5 and stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of like a little offshoot they just kind of put out there in between games and got good reviews, but nothing crazy. So, yeah. And then finally for us, because we talked about the Ubi Play stuff in Avatar, was Mario Rapids. Stars, what was it? Star Soars? My stars are soaring for you. What the fuck is it here?
Stars are soaring.
Stars are soaring for you. Sparks of Hope. Nothing to do with stars at all. Sparks of Hope. Again, this is something I'd maybe suggest watching the watch long, because Dylan had played the first one. He enjoyed it. That's all I hear positive things. It's a fun little game, but nothing floating my boat other than the cinematics look great, and I'm happy for the fans of this franchise that they're getting another, because people have said, I wish they should make another. They're making another, so good for Nintendo, good for Ubisoft doing something. Taylor, I feel like you're kind of in the same boat. You didn't play the first one. Will you be jumping in on this maybe?
I did play the first one. I've never
Mhm.
owned it, but I have played it a lot.
So you stole it.
Oh no, I was at EB Games and I was inquiring about it, and the guy
Give me
pulled out
Mario
his,
Rabbids!
yeah, give me this game. He pulled out his Nintendo Switch and he let me play it for like an hour in the store, and he was telling me
Who?
all about it. The guy that worked at EB Games, he pulled out his Nintendo Switch and let me play it. I
Take
couldn't
off your
believe it, but
pants.
yeah, it was really a fun game, and yeah, like I saw it on sale the other day actually when I went into EB Games, and it was for like $29, down from 79, and I thought, God, I really would like to buy it. Now, Dylan is right. It is not a sole Nintendo title, so it does get subject to sales. So now I feel like I can hold off. I can wait for this one because it's a good game, and I would definitely recommend it. It's definitely that awesome like tactics game, moving characters around the board and everything, which is fun. And I feel like that's definitely taken the world not by storm, but making a good kind of comeback right now, because like even Gears Tactics just came out and kind of employed that mechanic, which I think is pretty cool, especially for a big IP to do that, being Gears of War. So I'm curious what else will kind of go with that, because that's like the XCOM, I think, kind of.
Well, there's that rumor
style.
that Marvel's getting it, remember? So that is that's what Take-Two's doing.
Oh,
so that's
I didn't hear. I can't remember that one actually. That's cool though.
Yeah, that is. Oh, I completely forgot to that rumored Guardians game tomorrow. But yeah, that's the rumor that Take-Two's developing the same team that did XCOM is doing a Marvel game. So that's why Monday we might do a cast, because if that does get announced, I think that's pretty juicy to talk about. So stay tuned. We'll find out, because obviously all of us work on that day. But what about you, Clay? Any interest in this game?
It looks gorgeous as far as like the cinematic was. I know they showed like pre-alpha game, like actual in-game footage. I enjoyed it. I will say, just like how Twitter is really enjoying the Avatar trailer and things like that, Twitter is only talking about two of these games, Avatar and Mario. I think anything with Mario really blows up. It's just what Nintendo does. So I know this will be a big seller. Yeah, I never played the first one before. I remember seeing the trailer when the first one was announced, and I thought it was like a really cool aesthetic to put Nintendo into as far as like Mario. So if I get a Switch, and I plan on getting one this year, if I get a Switch soon, it might be on my radar to pick up.
Yeah. Well, like I said, that was it. We did Avatar, everything like that. So Taylor, I'll leave you last, because you'll probably be the highest. I'll go first as far as I'm gonna give this, because we usually, if people rate movies on our podcast, we go 10. Oh, we do the 5 scale here. I'm gonna go with 3. I'm not as low as Dylan. I think it was well paced, but I think they did show a lot of stuff that they didn't have anything too new to announce. There was a few things, but I think it was. Should I go? No, like it's tough. Like. I'll give it a 3.5, a little bit more, just because I liked the pacing of it, just because that's why I didn't feel like, there's some games I wasn't into, but I didn't feel like they stayed on them too long. Maybe a few more minutes I would have felt like that. I think they didn't have a big smoking gun. I think there's a few other things they could have done. That's, and maybe runtime. It was like an hour, 10 minutes, so not that long, but you probably could have still trimmed down a little bit. But yeah, I'm on like a 3.5 scale of like, I enjoyed it enough. I'm not with people saying it's the worst E3 thing or anything like that. But I think there's a lot of games here that maybe people aren't interested in. And I do think Avatar, especially more we're learning about it, I'm going, I don't know, but I get why they left it last. So that's where I am. Clay, what would you give this conference out of 5 for enjoyability?
I would have to go a little bit lower than the Summer Games Fest. I liked a lot more games for Summer Game Fest. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of awkwardness as far as the broadcasting for that. And like I said, the aesthetic for this was really good. So I'm also going to go ahead and go with a 3.5.
There we go. Taylorfield, close us off. First day of E3.
Yeah, it's funny because you said I would be the highest, but really, my vote is a 3.5. Like, like I don't have anything that has me super ecstatic. Well, Avatar has be great. Like, I'm interested, but I mean, that's not like game changing. Like, oh, that's solid 5 out of 5. The thing that would have. And again, it's just because I had this expectation, which is my own fault. I really was hoping that there would be some Star Wars, and that was announced a while ago. So I don't understand how, as a developer, you don't put something out, just a tease, just to give us something to be excited for, because the IP was it was solely EA working on Star Wars, and that's huge because they were locked into an agreement with EA for multiple years, and they put out barely any titles. We got like 4 games. So now it's open game, it's hunting season. Companies can now dive in and start working on this, and you don't have anything revealed at this point. I mean, I feel like my only hope is that maybe we get some Mandalorian game reveal at Xbox's conference that was rumored, because that would be exciting.
But I almost feel like that rumor of the Mandalorian game, I don't think
it wasn't 100% credible.
No,
and
not credible, but I also don't think it was this either. I could still believe there's a Mandalorian game out there, even if it's exclusive for Xbox. I could believe that. I just don't know. I feel like they would have teased it here and then been like more tomorrow at Xbox. So I feel like that means this whatever game they're working on is very far off. And maybe we get our first tease next year, but I don't think we'll be seeing this in maybe like 2023 at the earliest. So yeah,
one quick thing. How'd you guys feel about the movie segment?
Oh, right. I don't like it. So there's that werewolf thing that doesn't look good for me. And then what was the other thing they showed?
Something for Apple.
Right.
The Mythic Quest.
Yeah. I just don't think. I think to me, if it was the Assassin's Creed Netflix show, something bigger, like the way that they had Far Cry anime show at Netflix, so they would mention that makes sense. But I just don't think these two properties were worth it, and that's where I go. You could cut some time. I think you could take that out. It's great they got a production studio. I just think the majority of gaming people really tune out for stuff like that. I think the same way as comic books, the same way as video games for their movies. Yes, you need the hardcores there. It's great to get their stamp of approval. They help spread the word. But at the end of the day, you need the mainstream. DC and Marvel, those films would not be $1 billion hits if it was just the comic book people reading them. And I think that the majority of people that see this movie watching E3, they don't give a shit about these two. Really, I think that like Assassin's Creed's a bit different, but even then they go, nah, I'm here. I'm a gaming fan. I don't need this. So yeah, I wasn't a fan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for Werewolves Within, it didn't sell me. The only thing I recognized was the AT&T commercial girl on there. And like you said, it looks like it's gonna be like a comedy more than anything, and I just didn't really feel it. As far as Mythic Quest is a show that I have been wanting to watch on my 1-year free trial for Apple TV Plus. So I am gonna watch it eventually before November. So because I've heard it's like a mixture between like Community, and there was another like nerdy show that like debuted on Netflix a couple of years ago. I can't remember what it is. Yeah, I don't know, but it just wasn't for me. If, like you guys said, if they would have done some sort of teaser of the Assassin's Creed TV show, even if it was a little bit more than just a logo that they announced 3 years ago, I would have been hyped for it. But this is not going to get anything hyped for me. I'm not even going to probably talk about it after this.
Taylor, you're hyped. You brought it up, so you're dying to see that werewolf movie.
Yeah, I'm dying to see a werewolf movie. It looked, I found it entertaining enough, so there's quite a good chance that I will review it.
Well, there you go. Look out for our channel for a review of the werewolf movie. Everyone's really anticipating that. So, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in this episode. We'll be back tomorrow. Whenever you listen to this, I'm not sure. But the next cast that'll be in this feed will be the Xbox Bethesda one. And I think that one's going to be a lot more hype, a lot more exciting. I think they've said that, that's a 2-hour press conference. And then right after that, we got Square. So if you're with us, we can watch along. You can catch the replay because I know it's E3. It's like Comic-Con. Every single podcast and their mother are doing one. But with the replays always there, it's going to be lots of fun. And we promise you it will not be boring. So see you later.
Bye-bye.
See ya.